What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today, guys, at the Chicago Blackhawks, as there seems to be some talk about Dylan Strome, seems to be some talk about Matthias Janmark, Calvin DeHaan. We'll be taking a look at all of that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the Chicago Blackhawks. So, according to a recent Athletic article from Ian Mendes and Sean Gentile, we see that the Blackhawks are in a weird spot. They're not an actual contender, but they really weren't supposed to be either. Despite that, largely because the Central turned out to be so top-heavy, they're in a playoff spot. So, what do you do if you're GM Stan Bowman? So, some of the names we've heard about: Matthias Janmark, Dylan Strome, Dominic Kubalik, come on, and Calvin DeHaan. We're hearing about those guys recently because the Chicago Blackhawks, like many teams around the league, realized they need to move out some salaries. So, looking at the Blackhawks, who are some names that they can move out? Now, they currently have $0 in cap space. Wah, wah. But they have Matthias Janmark, final year of his contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. He's 28 years old in his prime. He's a pretty good player. He may be able to fetch them at least a second-round draft pick, I would think. You also have guys like Carl Soderberg, who could also maybe get you a middle-round draft pick just to move him out for some depth, as well as Nikita Zadorov. Is Zadorov in the long-term plans for the Hawks? Because now he's 25 years old. He is a restricted free agent, so the Blackhawks will have his rights in the offseason. But making $3.2 million, you would assume he'd want a pay raise, potentially up to $4 million on probably a 5 or 6 year deal. So a guy like Nikita Zadorov is a guy to keep an eye on. And you also have guys coming up the pipeline. Like they mentioned, Stan Bowman is looking at the long term for the Blackhawks, and he's looking at defensemen as guys to keep an eye on, like Ian Mitchell, Adam Boqvist, Nicholas Beaudin, as well as Pia Suter and Kirby Doc and Nylander. These guys are all going to get paydays in the very near future, potentially over the next 2 to 3 years. So, who are the expendable guys? Well, we know they're not trading Patrick Kane. We know they're not trading Jonathan Toews, even though that's almost a quarter of their cap right there, but that's besides the point. Alex DeBrincat making $6.4 million for the next 3 years. They're not moving him. Dominic Kubalik, we've heard the rumors out there. He's making $3.7 million this year and next. So if the Blackhawks feel they don't have the cap space to re-sign him next year, maybe they figure they could get more value for him, not as a rental at this year's deadline. But with the market, the way it's being set, they may be better off waiting till next year on Dominic Kubalik. They'd probably get the same value, quite honestly. Matthias Janmark seems to be a guy that we're hearing a lot about, as well as Calvin DeHaan. He is making $4.5 million this year and next. He is 29 years old, just on the back and just in the middle of his prime right now. I would expect him to go to Seattle as an expansion player. Maybe the Blackhawks throw in a second-round pick so they can move out Calvin DeHaan. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that from Chicago. You also have Connor Murphy making $3.85 for this year and next. They may look to move out Murphy just to see what his value is out there. I think a lot of teams see him as a 4 or 5 defenseman. So do you want to give almost $4 million to a guy like that? Probably not. Nikita Zadorov, again, he's an RFA this year in the summer of 2021, so maybe he generates some interest. There's a piece of hair right in front of my face. It's really annoying me. Okay, here we go. Apologize for that. Nikita Zadorov, like I said, he is a RFA this summer, so I think he would generate some interest. Only at 25 years old, he's a big body defenseman that loves to lay hits and fight. I think more than enough teams will be interested in Zadorov this trade deadline. And then you've got in between the pipes, which I think they're going to keep things pretty much status quo. You got Colin Delia, Malcolm Subban, and Kevin Lankinen all on, their contracts expire in 2022, so they don't really have to worry about that right now. But then you have Dylan Strome on the IR, making $3 million this year and next. Now, the issue is he is on the injured reserve, which makes him a lot more difficult to move because who's going to pick him up as a rental for this year and next if he's not even playing this year? Might as well wait till the offseason to sign him or to bring him in, and he'd probably be worth less because at that point he has 1 year left on his contract. The team that's buying him could use that as leverage. You also have the situation with guys like Brent Seabrook and Andrew Shaw. Would those guys get moved? I could see Shaw maybe getting moved next year. He's only making $3.9 million per year, maybe. But let's also remember Kirby Dach, his contract ends next year. In 2022, he will be a restricted free agent. This offseason, Alexander Nylander is a restricted free agent. So maybe we see Nylander get moved as well as maybe a Zach Smith or an Andrew Shaw to move out some cap space for the long term for the Chicago Blackhawks. They use Nylander as a sweetener. That is not what I wanted to hear. I apologize for that, guys. I'll have to edit that out. That's what happens when you live next to a firehouse, but that's besides the point. So anyway, that is it for the Blackhawks. Like I said, they may have to throw in a sweetener, like a Nylander, which sucks, but that may be what we see. Even a Pia Suter. I know Hawks fans are like, no, you can't trade Pia Suter. They might have to. Just to move out some cap space. Because you can't just give up a guy like Shaw. Teams just don't find enough value in that. Almost $4 million for a bottom six forward. Teams aren't going to pay that. So it's going to cost you potentially a Pia Suter or potentially a guy like Nylander, who both of them are restricted free agents this offseason. So they're probably going to keep one or the other, or hopefully both, if Stan Bowman could have it his way. So guys, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Chicago Blackhawks going into this offseason? Because they seem to be sellers at this year's trade deadline, and that seems to be the plan for Stan Bowman, despite them being in a playoff spot. Let me know what you think of that down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to help us hit 1,000 subscribers, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger subscribe down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.